Hey guys, if you want to launch your career into copywriting, then emails are one of the best ways to make good income consistently. And if you have an email list, then your ability to write good emails can turn your list into one of your greatest profit generating assets. Now, if you feel that it's 2025 and people do not read emails, emails are dead, then I want you to do this simple exercise. Just go and check out some of the most successful players in any niche, coaches, copywriters, service providers, and see for how long they have been into business, and people who are been still crushing it, people who are still doing very great, and you will find there's something common in them, and that is they leverage emails very effectively. In fact, many of them send emails almost every day, and during the promotions and launches they send 2 to 3 emails a day. So if these people who are investing millions into marketing and have a big team and doing research, and they're staying at the front end of what's working right now, and they're using emails, then it's a great proof that emails are working. Now coming back to the course. So these are the basics that I have put into the course, the fundamentals which I feel I should know when I was starting out. And it would have saved me hours and hours of hard work, and then a lot of money that I would have wasted into courses that didn't deliver. So if you follow this course, I mean it's more than 2.5 hours of it's more than 2 hours of course, and if you simply follow it step by step, you will be better than 90% of the email marketers out there, and you will be able to write emails that sells. And so there's an actual course, uh, full course where I'll show you how to write emails you have never written, and these are emails to actually help generate sales response. And then I'll show you how what are the next steps. So you can take a step further. So why you should learn to take this course? See, I made my living right, work with over 70 plus clients. I'm still working. I still work. Clients are making almost all my career. I can talk. I work with national best-selling opportunities and for millions of followers, hundreds celebrity coaches, certain manufacturing companies. So I've worked across the industries. Right now, uh, I'm working a lot of, a mix of clients, the coaches, consultants, and the manufacturing as well. There are a lot of B2B companies or SA. So there is a mix of clients that I work with because these principles like copywriting makes you work. I'm done launches like dollar tools and like K, 50K, 2.5K, and in many cases I have 2x, 3x, the program conversions, coaches and consultants using the power. What I'm going to share you is based on what I'm actually doing right now for my clients. There's more to be. So let's look at why emails. Why emails, especially in 2025? So if you compare emails to social media, you see there is a lot of distraction on social media. People are trying to capture your, audience attention, and there are so many things that are happening. So we're already fighting huge in terms of how to get somebody's your prospects attention. And now on the social media, there are so many things that are happening. So it makes your job much more difficult, which is why emails gives you an opportunity where there is less distraction. You are more focused. Plus, you are not dependent on the algorithm of different social media platforms. Plus, the environment is also a bit different. So, for example, if you're having dating somebody and you're having a coffee with someone on a uh, on a cafe where there is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of noise, versus you're having chatting with someone and having coffee in your house, the environment is different. It's more intimate. There is a lot of, the conversation is going to be more intense, and people, somebody who's listening to you has an opportunity to give you more attention, which is why emails gives you so many better opportunities to connect with your audience. And it is why it is one of the highest revenue generating asset, ROI giving asset for so many companies. Plus, it's fast and easy. It doesn't take more than 20 to 30 minutes to write a good email. Yeah, you don't have to learn so many new nuances about the different kinds of platforms because you can use it in a different way. You can generate traffic, you can generate leads, nurture leads, you can write direct sales campaigns, upsell, downsell, cross sell, generate referrals, create lost prospect reactivation. There are so many things that you can do through emails. Plus, the best advantage is you can show up every day on your prospects inbox without emptying your pocket. So you do not have to invest money like you have to do on your ads to reach out to your audience almost every day. It allows you to build that progress, personal bonding, and relationship, which is why relationship is so important. So when you build that relationship, you will see more clients coming to you, and that is how you will make more money and more freedom. Because by investing less time and less energy, you're doing things that are going to do a very heavy lifting for you. And this is how it is also called emails. I usually say as a lifestyle asset because it actually adds more life to your business. What I want you to do is simple exercise. I want you to, you know, go inside your inbox right now and make a list of 5 brands or coaches you already get emails from and see which one do you actually regularly open and read and why. So ask yourself, why do you read those emails regularly and note those points? Because the moment you start asking these questions to yourself, you will get insights, especially something that is making you to, you know, go and open the emails and read those emails. Because if there's something making you and attracting you to open and read those emails, the similar things you can apply to make others read your email. So identify what are the 4, 5 very important things that make you read those emails regularly. So I want you to pause this video right now and go do this exercise. So if you keep on doing exercise as we move along the course, you will learn better. You will be able to apply these things in your business. Now let's look at what's wrong with most emails today. Reason you should know about these things because so that you do not make the same mistakes. So one is, since emails is cheap and easy, it doesn't cost much to send out an email and it's easy to write a simple, just put on some copy and send it. People just throw away and they do not put a lot of thoughts into what should goes into email. And which is why you see your inbox is clogged and cluttered. So many people are sending you emails and you do not want to open them and read them. And so the emails get ignored and deleted or worse, spammed. And when emails get ignored, people do not read those emails. That there is the deliverability issues increases. There is declining open rates, high spam rates, and because of which less and less email reaches their inbox. And so when people seeing the copy is not good and there is deliverability issues, it usually doesn't make any money for them. The list is not, it becomes a liability. It's not generating any, revenue for them. And so they stop using emails. So why, what are the mistakes that people make because of which these issues arises? One is they write boring copy. So boring is the biggest sin in any, copy that you write. So if you look at people's life, there are so many things that are happening, which are repetitive. He gets up, goes to his office, or he works with the similar kinds of client. There is similar routine. So so there is, there are, it's monotonous. Things are repetitive, and he do not want to do things which is still makes him more boring. So you don't want to add things which are boring so that, to his already quite a bored life or things, a monotonous life. And which is why they do not want to read emails which are boring. The second thing is just selling. People send out emails mostly when they want to sell something. And so the subscribers do not open the emails because they know that he's just trying to selling something. So I have a client, I started working with, and he used to send, before I started working with him, he used to send emails just when he wanted to, they had a deal. And they are an IT company and they have a team of around 60 people who are an expert at a certain technology. So there is a huge team of
experts. They charge huge for doing those work, but also they also sell certain products. But they only used to reach out to their audience when they had a certain deal on those products. So that means there is no opportunity for demonstrating their expertise, building their authority, and in fact, they were programming the list to only respond when there are deals. So their leaders were connecting them with the discounts, not with the expertise and authority they had. So, plus when you oversell, people repel. And then a lot of people just copy paste other people's stuff. They exaggerate. Now that there is AI, people use very robotic copy, so people do not want to read them. Sometimes many, marketers, email marketers trick with clever subject lines to get their email open. This may work for some couple of emails, but every time you trick somebody, they know that you're trying to play the game and you lose the trust. And they will not going to open the emails. And other thing that people do wrong is they try to lecture and teach. So, I mean, just look at the human nature. It's difficult for us to sit in a class and get lectured and sit in a college campus unless the professor is interesting. He's telling, uh, giving us lessons in an interesting way, entertaining way, telling stories. But if you're just somebody who's giving hardcore knowledge, it becomes uh, quite boring. And now that we are adult, we have a choice not to, get bored, not to get lectured. We will opt out from reading those emails. And then we know people who are very tiptoed, very corporately, very formals. We do not feel a connection with them. So if we do not feel a connect with them, why would we want to read their stuff? Then the third thing that makes people, do not read somebody's email is because they focus in on creativity. There are a lot of puzzles. They are overwhelming the readers with a lot of things. They're focusing on creativity rather than clarity. So creativity many times create confusion. And if there is confusion, people do not take action. The other thing that stops Will from reading emails is being vanilla. So vanilla is good in ice creams, but not in emails. You have to have a personality. So when everyone is writing a robotic copy, and if I can copy paste somebody's emails and use it for somebody else, and there is no difference in the way he brings his personality, then why would somebody keep opening your emails, reading your emails? Because the writing, your copy is, and everything is very similar to somebody else. So you have to bring your personality. Now again, do this simple exercise. Go inside your inbox and see which emails you will delete without even reading them. And why would you do so? See, if you, I'll give you what I do. So, for example, if I read somebody's emails, there are two reasons. One is I want to read their emails, so it's not dependent on the subject line. So I like reading their stuff. I like their approach, the personality, and everything in their copy. So I can consistently read their emails. I may miss out sometimes because I might have been busy or there are other things that have happened. But what has happened, if I like, sometimes I go open the emails and then I look at many of the past emails. So I read in a go many of the back emails. The other thing is also when there are so many emails, I also look at sometimes I also look at the subject lines. So was from someone whose emails I don't usually read. And if the subject line is really cool, then I open those emails. So both things matter. The subject line is also important, but the most important thing is who is sending the email. The sender is so important. So it's not just the subject line, but the quality of the copy, the insights that he's giving in the copy. So which is far more important in long term. I want you to do a similar exercise and just see what makes you to delete somebody's copy and without reading them. Is it that too salesy? They only write when they have to sell, or it's too boring, or they use very formal language. They do not build connection. So just look at their copy and identify 4 5 things because of which you actually do not read their emails. So most emails lose their impact even before they reach their inbox. The marketers do not realize that every email has to earn its place in the inbox. Just can't send random things and hope that people are going to read that. You have to earn the time and energy they are going to invest in reading your emails. And that is why you have to make these four sales. People miss out, on realizing the psychology of the salesmanship in emails. And if they don't do any of these four sales, which I am going to show you now, they're going to use the readers. So the four sales that you have to make in every email is attention sale, leadership sale, solution sale, and action sale. Now, copywriting is salesmanship, and you have to sell at every step. What you have to do is you have to look into the copy and see how you can get somebody's attention. Mostly, if you have been reading copy for some, somebody you love reading to emails, you open their email just because looking at the name, but then it takes quite a time to get to the place where people read your email just by looking at who sent it, the name. But then there are other things that you have to look as the subject lines and the deep. So you have to get, by the time you reach to a stage where people start reading your email just because you send it, you have to get attention through the subject line, through the heat. So once you hold their attention, you have to make them read your email. So it's like how John Carlton says, it has to be a greasy slide. When people, come at the top, they go at bottom, by stepping up. There are no bumps. It's easy, it's frictionless. So looking at the structure, the kind of copy you're writing, the clarity, the simplicity, it makes it easy for them to read, which holds their attention. Plus, you have to do the solution sale. So, solution sale is where you're selling your idea, actually selling your idea, your concept, your opinion, your perspective, your offer, your mechanism, and then the action sale. What is that one thing you want them to do after they read your image? So, every email, break it down into these four things. So, ask them, ask yourself, is your subject line in the lead is actually getting their attention to make them, oh, I want to read this email? Or is it making them continue reading it further? How the copy, does it look very complex? Is it overwhelming? Are the words easy? There are so many lines and words in one paragraph. So you have to look at, are you making it easy for them to read or making it hard for them to read? Even the font size matters a lot. The solution sale, and we look into how we had to do the solution sale. So I saw, are your ideas good? Is your pitch is good? How you're trying to sell them? And then what is that one action you want them to take? Usually the whole idea is of the email is that one thing that you want them to do after they read your email. Maybe you're selling just an idea or a concept in that email and there are no links in those emails. Still, what is the thought that you want them, one good core idea you want them to take away from your email? So look at the ad. What I want you to do is, again, the simple exercise is take any ad or social media post or in an email that you read today and see, did it win your attention? Did it keep you reading? Did it solve a solution? Did it push correction? And then look for these four things, especially ask yourself how that subject line actually won your attention. So if you're looking at your inbox and you're seeing around 50 emails at a time, which subject line got your attention and why? So asking these questions gives you a lot of insights from yourself because there are you have been making buying decisions. There are certain things which have been working for you. If they're working on you, these things will work on others as well. So look at the structure. Did it keep you reading? Why did that email or ad copy kept you reading? So just ask. You don't have to come with an answer, right or wrong answer right away. Just ask these questions and see if you can break down any email and see if they're doing these four sales in that ad copy or emails. Now, now taking it a step further, you have to find these reasons from doing research into, you know, making people read your copy. So you have to do a lot of reason why, understanding of why somebody is going to read your copy. So David Ogilvy was huge into reason why copy. So everything has to have a reason why, you know. So reason why you should pay me attention. So these are the reasons that you have to answer for your audience. So, the simple exercise that you have to do now is pick up any product that you want to sell. Or if you're working for a client, you know, then it's easy for you. You can just pick up their offer if you are working on your own offers. Or if you do not have a client, any client right now, then just pick any offer that you want to write about. Then ask yourself why the reader should give you attention. Reason why solving this problem is so important. Why I am the right person. Why my solution is so unique. Why my solution is proven. And why you should take action right now. So answering these questions, when you answer these questions for any specific offer, even when you're trying to sell your services, maybe you're cold pitching, you're writing a cold email to your prospect or reaching out to someone, you should write this for yourself. Why should they pay you attention? Why solving this problem is so important for them, and why you are the right person? Why this makes solution so unique? So start making a list of all these things. What you can do is put these questions in a spreadsheet and start answering them for yourself or for a product or for a client. So you will have a repository of lot of raw data and information that you can use when you're writing your emails, which is why it will make your emails, there will be lot of substance in your emails and specific concrete details and information instead of fluff. So when you're going to write, you have a lot of research material and lot of good content to write about instead of just, throwing away words and using fluff or height copy, which is why research is important, which is why asking these questions are important. Now, Now, answering these questions will take you from yourself into their world. Because when you're saying, for example, why your solution is unique, you're not, going deep into identifying reasons why you are different from the competition, why things that haven't worked in the past for your clients by using your competitor's product will work for you. These questions will give you a lot of stuff for writing which your audience really cares. Now take a step further. You know, uh, you know. Now when you do this research, it's important to understand that while you're writing the copy, the email is not just about you; it's about the audience, and that's the big mistake people take. So if you look at most beginners, they make this mistake. They write a lot about the features. My, my course has 10 modules, 5 bonuses, lifetime access. So when you're saying you have, you know, uh, the solution is unique or the solution is proven, then we're not talking about the features. We're not talking about the things that you're giving. See, your reader doesn't care. What they care about is, can this help me lose? They're looking for the result. Can this help me lose weight without starving? Can this help me get clients without wasting money on ads? Can this make me feel confident in front of my boss? Your product is just a channel. What matters is the hunger it satisfies. So how do you get it into their world? So these questions will, once you identify the answers to them, and I'm going to show you how you do the research, you have to connect it to the audience of how they're going to get the end results of what they want. So how are you going to connect all these together? The reason why Poppy avoiding these common mistakes, you have to identify the hot buttons. What makes someone tick? You identify the reasons by which somebody makes a buying decision. So you have to find answers to these questions. What is the conversation going on in your prospect set? What do they secretly desire, wish, and hope for? What are their pains? What is worrying them right now? So when I was working in a sales in a HR analytics company and I was doing presentation to a team of HRs for a company, in the presentation we used a word called high potential, and it was used in a graph, in a chart, and we are talking about high potentials. And I noticed that a lot of people who were we presenting to were asking us to stop at that specific slide and asking us question on the high potentials. So we realized that it was a very big pain point for those companies, because good people, they're high potential peoples, either they were leaving because the companies couldn't identify that they're high potent candidates. And the second thing is they were not able to retain those candidates and they were joining the competitor. So it was a big problem. And once we noticed that, we started writing emails, a lot of emails on high potential, and started generating a lot of leads and sales through that. So you have to identify what is worrying your prospects right now. What is the insecurity? So in that case, the insecurity was, what if the high tensions lead their organizations and they join their competitors, and the competitors, being a good leader, identify those high pods and train them and turn them into high performer. They were losing very good candidates because of their own incapability to spot those high potential candidates. So it was a big insecurity, and uh, when we did the research, we got those words and phrases from our target audience children. We used those specific words and phrases in our emails. So what is causing them maximum frustration? What are they struggling at right now? What keeps them awake at night? What do they desperately want to achieve? Where do they want to go from where they are? What core belief does your customers hold? What is their most coveted goal? What are the biggest fears and frustrations? So you have to do the research, and there are several ways. I'll show you how you can do that research. But the research is so important. So simply, the reason, what difference, with what the one thing that makes a big difference between good copy and the copy that actually converts is not the kind of words that you use. It's not creativity. It's not just about how you write. It's about what you write. And what you're going to write, it's all going to come from the research that you're going to do. So you have to do this research. Otherwise, your copy will obviously, it's not going to produce results. It will certainly, if there is a competition, it is certainly going to lose to someone who understands their audience well. So even for example, Gary Elwood gave this very beautiful example in which he says that there is a guy who has given birth. He's out. He's there sitting in a theater, and his wife has given birth to triplets. And there is someone who he's someone you know run to the theaters. I do not remember exactly. It's a theater or somewhere, but the other guy goes into the theater and says, "Your wife has given birth to triplets." Now, no matter how you say it, what kind of words you use, what terminologies you use, what phrases you use, what you are saying is so important that no matter how you say it, it is going to have an impact. So this research is going to help you identify what you are going to say that is going to create the maximum impact on a reader, which is why this research is so critically important. So once you start doing this research, you will be able, you will have a list of things that will appeal to your prospects. Now, Victor Osho, uh, one of the great copywriters, he says that choose the right appeal for your product or service based on a human desire that moves people most naturally and surely towards your product. So all these things that you're going to do the research on is actually design. It's actually will help you to move them naturally towards your product or service. So you have to make a list and prioritize what is going to do the highest appeal, the right kind of appeal, and present it in the most dramatically and convincingly. So that's the role of the copywriter. You have to get into the world. So Dale Carnegie, the author of one of the best-selling books of all time, how to win friends and influence people, says the only way to influence someone is to find out what they want and show them how to get it. So the way you're going to find out is through all the research. Now, let me show you how to do this research. Let me give you some ideas and tactics to, to at least to do this research for your copy. So the idea is you have to get into the world, the problems, the fears, the goals, the hidden desires, the hopes, the dreams, the emotions, not about the features of your product. No, s- your product is a channel to satisfy their hunger. It's a vehicle. You have to walk into in their shoes, get into the feelings, head, their life, their outlook, their opinions. You have to own it. You have to box your feelings and biases and keep it aside. So you are not your own customers. So you have to keep your own feelings, your own biasness, your own subjectivity into what your audience want. You have to do the research and identify what your audience really wants. So how are you going to hack into your prospect's brain and figure their innermost desire, wants, and needs? The first and the most important thing that you have to do is interview your ideal friends. Let them speak the most and listen. So we started, I started working with a client long time back, and this it was into it was medical laser equipment, and it cost somewhere around 10 lakhs back then, almost 7 8 years back. So we had a huge, competition. Some of our clients had very deep pockets to invest on doctors, and what we did is when I started working with them, I actually went and interviewed some of their prospective clients and some of their past clients, and then made a list of the actual words and phrases and the problems that they were solving and they want to be solved. So one was the recurrence. So this medical laser equipment was used in surgery, in proctology, and varicular pains. So the bigger issue in proctology was recurrence. Even after surgery, there was recurrence. There were issues of recurrence, and this laser technology was helping reduce that recurrence. The second was better output of results, and the third was the availability of fibers that were used in the laser machines. So once we identified that these three things really matter to the doctor, we wrote the entire website, we wrote the emails, promotions entirely based on what doctors wanted. And some of our ads, one ad I wrote based entirely on what doctors said to us. I transcribed it and used most of the words that doctors said, and we generated over 600 plus views from that one ad. Because instead of assuming, we asked couple of doctors what they want, and we identified a list of 4 5 things that every doctor told us. So this is so important. Now you can go to the public forums, social media comments, Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, start reading about your audience, go to the forums, look at the comments, see what they're saying, what people are talking about. You can check reviews of your competitor's product, what prospects like, what they didn't like. Identify and study hyper bias from your data. So 80% of your clients, 20% of your clients give 80% of the business. So identify those 20% of your clients and interview them and ask why they love to do business with you. And if you already have the clients, if you do not have the clients and you're working for someone, you can do it for your clients. And even if that is not the option, then you can do research by going to forums, you can do research on ChatGPT, you can do research by reading the books, you can do research by going to the computers for like. But research is so critically important because that is what will separate you. That is what will tell you what to write. Because that is most important. So when you start writing, you know, putting down to exact research and what people want to read, you don't have to be an amazing writer. Just by writing things that people want to read, you will get far better results. So you can also look at famous magazines covers, especially the old magazines, Reader's Digest, and see the copy that is written on the covers. I didn't make a list of bestsellers and see what are the titles and subtitles they use. You can run surveys. We do a lot of surveys. We have I have a client who has a list of around 13,000 people. And before we did a launch, we identify what is the number one select. And we got several, over 300 to 400 responses. And we use those responses very effectively in creating our copy and everything. So do one thing, again, in a simple exercise, interview one friend about a frustration they have. Write 3 email angles based on their answers. You can pick up a product you use and read 5 Amazon reviews. So look at 3 pains and 3 desires you want. So look at the best reviews and look at the worst reviews, what people do not want and what people love in that specific product. So do this exercise and do the research, because that is what will separate you from other copywriters. Now that we have worked on the foundation of the copy, what kind of research that we need to do, what kind of foundation that we need to build into, how are we going to do that research, and what kind of sales that we have to make. Now we are moving to the architect of the copy, the subject line, the body copy, the lead, build up, transition and pitch, and the call to action and the PS. So these are the four elements of any email. The PS could be optional, but the subject line, the body copy. So the body copy has again four parts. The one is the lead, the build up, the transition, the pitch, and then the third element is the call to action. So we are going to go into each step, and I'm going to show you what kind of subject line that you should write. What kind of different body copy that you should write, how to write the call to action, how do you transit. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I've invested so much of time into creating this entire structure, and I think you're going to love it. So first understand what kind of subject line that you should write. So here are 7 broad categories of subject line that you can effectively use. One is personalization and personality. So I'll give you examples of that in each case. The second is curiosity, where you have to trigger that curiosity client and make them click your emails. The urgency and scarcity. Fourth is benefit oriented. Fifth is asking a burning questions. Uh, Sixth is the proof, and seventh is controversial. So these are the 7 broad categories of emails, and mostly 95% to 97% of the emails of your emails will fall into this category. I'm pretty sure you won't have to worry about any kind of other category of emails that you have to write on the subject lines. So even if you go inside your inbox and see any email, and you will immediately see that it will fall into one of these categories. So let's look at personalization, personality. You have to bring your meanness to the subject line, your uniqueness. So that makes your emails more unique. It's more personality driven rather than generic or robotic, or you know uh, it works great for a warm audience. So if you have an audience that has been reading a email for a long time, and then you can start leveraging these things. Even if you do not have, I started working with a client, and we just couple of emails we have sent out, and then we started using this personality driven emails, because it doesn't take much long to introduce yourself, introduce your voice. It just take couple of initial emails, and then you can use them, and these works pretty well in building a relationship with your audience. So for example, I am fed up with, so you can, or even I am fed up, so why I quit dash to get dash. So this is about your personality, why I strongly recommend this. So introducing your opinion, your perspective strongly onto something. The second category of subject line that you can write is curiosity. Leave the readers wanting to know more. And when you write curiosity driven subject lines, make sure you deliver them in your body copy. So you just don't want to make them read your open, just for the sake of making them open your emails. you have to deliver that thing in your emails. If you don't do it, people will lose trust and they will stop reading your emails. So, for example, what an amazing way to say, you know, maybe what an amazing way to lose, 17 kg of weight in the next 3 months. Don't open this if you don't want. Bad news and good news. So these are all uh, click-worthy subject lines. They make people catch the people's attention and actually pulls them into click. So write down three boring subject lines you have seen this week and rewrite them using the curiosity or benefit. So uh, again, go inside your email inbox and see, identify a couple of subject lines that you feel are quite boring and they are not click worthy. Can you do a makeover of them and rewrite them? So do this exercise. While we are doing this course, you have to do the exercise, pause this video, do the exercise because that is how you're going to learn. Otherwise, you're going to forget these things and miss out. Once you do the exercise, the learning is going to get imprinted in you and you're going to use it more effectively. You can also use, it's not that you just have to use benefit oriented or curiosity oriented. You can use a combination of both benefit and curiosity. In fact, benefit plus curiosity driven subject lines are one of the best ways and easy ways to get people, write your subject line. So because if you're confused or if you're having a doubt what kind of subject line that you should write for a specific emails, then the default is, write curiosity plus benefit driven. So that's the safe side and that's the best working kind of, category of subject lines. Urgency and scarcity. So create a sense of urgency or scarcity to drive quick action. So usually this works for when you are doing a launch and in the last couple of days of launch and you're sending reminders. The final call for dash, closing day for the last chance to get this dash hours, attention less than 40 hours to say. And these last reminders, agency driven subject lines work pretty well because as a human, we generally procrastinate and and many times we need a deadline to do something. So these are reminders for the deadline. So when people see these emails and if they've been procrastinating, take a certain offer or a certain program or a product or something, these are good triggers. Benefit oriented subject lines. Show what's in it for them. Number one easiest way to get dash and dash. Seriously, simple emails to six-figure clients. What I do to get dash and dash. So these are pure benefit driven. And the best way is, like I said, you can combine, benefit plus curiosity to take them up the notch. Burning questions, burning question, or a simple question. Ask a question that stops them and pull them inside. Did you miss this cheat sheet? No. So it could be a burning question is related to a specific problem, or a question could be, general question if they missed out on something. Is your dash advice bad for your dash? What's your dash type? Take the test. So, and then you have to identify these questions again, doing the research of what your people want to know. What you can also do is make a list of all the objections your prospect have or your client's prospects have during the sales and then use those objections as the questions. Social proof, endorsements, reviews, testimonials. So proof is one of the biggest factors for conversions. People do not make decisions, especially today. A lot of people do not make decisions because of disbelief. They do not believe that your product or service is going to deliver results. So proof is very important. So see what our customers are saying about us. Now this works proof insight. John's story from dash to dash. So write these interesting stories, give or maybe give away proof directly or use couple of testimonials. So take one testimonial, one good story and expand them in your emails. So your entire email could be that one solid proof. Controversies. So go against the norm or a person, creates entertainment and makes you stand out. So what we studied initially is that boring is the biggest sin. And if you want to stand out, being controversial is one of the fastest and and the easiest way to stand out in a crowded inbox. So you don't have to overuse this technique, but if you had a strong opinion for something, if you feel that, if you are standing up against something and you have strong opinion, you have to share it, and you do it boldly and confidently. For example, this the most dangerous dash ever? The number of reason most people aren't dash. Boom or bust ahead for dash. The shocking onset. So the controversial things first shows that you have authority on something. This shows that you are confident in building for your ideas. Plus, it creates a lot of drama and excitement, and people love that drama. So, just pause this video and take up a specific product or service that you're working upon. Maybe you're working on, any offer. Then write all these seven subject lines for that specific offer. Use the personality driven, curiosity, urgency, benefit, burning, social proof, and controversial. So these are all these seven categories that you have to work on to write your subject lines. So do this exercise right now. Take up the offer or the product and then write one subject line for each of the category. Now that you know how to write good subject lines, let's talk about how to write good leads. So if you look at the body copy, there are four elements into it. There is lead, build up, transition, and pitch. So not we're going to break down how to write good leads that capture somebody's your subscribers' attention. So because we know that attention is a limited resource, and it's so important to get somebody's attention and make them read your emails, which is why it is one of the most important part of an email. The first couple of lines of your emails are actually the leads. And a lot of people mess up there. So first, there are dozens and dozens of options to how to write a lead. So it creates a lot of confusion on where to start, what kind of leads that we should write about. And then people do not know what kind of ideas that have been tested and proven that actually hold somebody's attention. So to make this thing very simple and easy for you, I made a list of leads that are proven. Something leads that I consistently write on for my own business, for my client's business. And these are the leads that I have seen repeatedly working for a lot many good email copywriters or marketers out there. So now you won't have to do any guesswork or be confused or overwhelmed in terms of what kind of leads that you should write. So I've listed 12 categories of leads. So the first is tell a compelling story. And it's one of the most effective way to get somebody's attention because people love stories. And stories are also one of the most effective ways to connect a good lesson to your offer or pitch. And share an incident. So what's been happening in your life, and something that has happened in your life that made you laugh or that made you realize something or that gives you an aha moment or something similarly that has happened in maybe in your client's life or into a celebrity's life or a author's life, which you and your readers you feel usually both follows. So before we go into this, what I want you to do is, make a spreadsheet and put these 12 columns and start, putting all these things into each of the columns, tell a story, write, share an incident. So do this. And then the third lead that you can write is paint a future picture. So your job as a leader is also to show a dream, to build a dream of how a future life looks like. The fourth is state a problem or a desire. So you can identify what kind of problems, core problems mm, because of which people have come to you because they wanted to solve a problem. So break those problems into symptoms, how those problems are showing up in their life. So for example, they have an issue with uh, low self-esteem. then they're not able to, there are so many ways that it is showing up. They're not able to ask for a date, or they're not able to ask for a raise. So how that problem is showing up in their life. So break that problem into symptoms. Also make a list of the desires. So what kind of, results that they would want, in their life because they fix that problem. Fourth is debunk a myth. So there are so many myths in every industry. And you start doing that, people will first, feel that you genuinely want to help them. They will see you as someone, who is different. It allows you to stand out in the competition because you're creating those aha moments. You're creating, helping them get over their own limitations. Sixth is write a surprising fact. So start making list of surprising fact. It doesn't necessarily, uh, it's only about your industry. You can make a list of surprising fact of any industry, and then you can connect it to your pitch and offer, and we're going to show that how you do that transition. So don't worry about if that surprising fact is related to your industry. I'll show you how to transition from any surprising fact, bring that entertainment value and then connect it to your offer. Ask a question or answer a question, so make a list of questions that your subscribers or your audience usually ask. So whenever you're having a conversation with a client, make a note of something that they had asked and answer it for everyone. Share a testimonials. So do not leave a chance to prove why your product is working, how it is delivering results, what kind of results it is delivering, how it is changing people's life, what kind of changes that people are seeing in their life because of using the product. So people need proof. One of the reasons people do not make a decision is because of disbelief. They do not believe if your product or offer is actually will deliver the results that you're claiming. So every claim has to be supported with good, solid proof, and testimonials are one of the best ways to give that proof. Hit the competition. In every industry, tons of competition. So identify the missing link, the gaps, the loopholes, the mechanism by which those, competitors things do not work and why they haven't worked in the past and why your product is superior, better, different, So for example, we learn about that and the reason why copy, why you are better, why you deliver better results. So I'd make a list of, things that are gaps in the industry, the loopholes or the missing links, and so that you can hit that competition in those areas. Show predictions. What is going to be in the future? People are worried about the future, especially, you know, now that AI is there. There are so many things that are happening, and there are so many things that are happening in the health industry, in the environment, in the way companies are going to work. So, and if you, show those predictions, people will obviously connect, see you as a leader because who shows just predictions? Leaders. So it's the leader's role. So you have, if you want to position yourself as a leader, an authority, an expert or something, and if you predict something, you don't have to be very dramatic or make very big, bold predictions. But then even a small thing that actually matters to the audience is important. 11th is state an irresistible offer. So every time you don't have to write in story or incident or, you can, if you have a good offer, then you can directly go and pitch your offer. So state clearly what they are going to get, and if you can add up how it is going to add, what kind of results it is going to prove, that's great. Because if it's a warm up audience, especially when you're doing launches and people have already seen couple of emails, then you can directly come on to the direct pitch and state your offer usually when you are about to close the cart. Also, you're doing short mini launches and you're doing maybe a weekend sale, then you just have to list that offer perspective. So it's okay to quote about, known popular people like Tony Robbins or Dr. Joe. But then people also want to know your opinion, your perspective. They are on your list to know about you to see what you have to say on certain things. So even if when you're quoting someone, make sure that you also put your opinion, your perspective, your understanding of how you have been applying those things in your life, how your clients are applying those things in your life, what kind of results that you're seeing. Plus, start making a list of your own perspective about something. So, for example, in my case, so these are the 12 kinds of leads that you'd write. And these are not just starting off an email. Actually, these are the whole email. So these are the 11, 12 different categories of emails that you can write to your list. Now, let me show you examples in each of these. So it is, so able to see how each of these lead works. The first is tell a compelling story. So many years ago, I do not remember the exact reason, my ex-boss handed me some workshop details. Write a promo for this, he said. I raw rookie, young-blooded, excited, opened my armor of words and filled a full 3 pages of promotion. Now, this is a real story of, during my one of my first job, my boss gave me to write a promotion for a leadership program that we were doing. And in that, what I did is I do not have any knowledge of how to write these promotions. I've done my marketing and MBA and I've been into sales and all that, but I was learning marketing at that time. But when I started writing, I filled that pages with lot of high, with lot of big words, good sounding words, big level words, lot of creativity. And when I showed it to him, he cut out almost 60 to 70% of that letter, and he said it's not look better and clean, and then all you have to add these things to make it further better. So it's a real story. So and it connects so well with people who also do the similar kind of things, people who are just starting out and people do not know how to write promotions. And so that is how you start writing good stories, or what is things that are happening now in your life, what are things that have happened in your past. And see that that there is a connection between you and your audience. So whenever you write these stories, people also have shared experiences, shared feelings, shared emotions, and that is how you are able to build that connection with your readers by writing these stories. Share an incident. So it gives a peek into what is happening in your life, or what has happened in your life in the past, or it could be an incident about you, it could be an incident about your client. So especially if you write in, I would suggest to start writing more of incidents that are happening in your life, because that will add a lot of newness into your emails. So last night I was searching for a box of old IDs, and you know what I found. And then the email goes on, and it expands on some of the interesting things I was writing back in a couple of years back. And it could be incident about you were traveling and you missed out your flight, and it could be, and then you were waiting at the airport for someone, and then at the airport you met someone and you had a very interesting conversations. So not all uh, mishappenings are bad. So there are so many incidents that you can write and then give a lesson from those incidents and show up your life. So the best one of the reasons to write about these incidents is show up what is happening in your life. And when you show up what is happening in your life, people are able to see that you are one of them. People are able to connect you as a human. The fourth kind of lead that you can write about is painting the picture. Paint the picture of how the future looks like and go into specific details. Share vivid, clear details of how an amazing future looks like. The the better and more vivid and clear picture you create, the better people will be able to see the future. And the more clearly they see the future, the better they will be able to connect your product with the future, because you are showing them the future. So the pictures created in the mind with the words are magnetically powerful, because the reader fills this with his own colors, infuses his own imagination, the smell she loves, the taste she craves, which is why the images created with words are far, far more powerful. They have a better imprinting than just the pictures itself, because of the readers are involved through his own imaginations. Example, imagine sipping the finest French whiskey in a 350 square feet balcony overlooking the hill views. You can different kinds of pictures that you can create. Maybe you're not going out and traveling. The important thing in each of these pictures is specific details, specific concrete details. Otherwise, it would be vague and people won't be able to imagine it. So that's very important. The other thing is people want to see uh, how the future lives looks like after they start using the product or service. That is what, because ultimately they want results, and and results you have to break down the actual scenario of when they are actually living those results, which is more important. So it's not just the output. For example, it's not just about losing 20 kgs of extra weight. It's about how their life looks like after losing those, those extra weight. For example, they're able to slip into their jeans after maybe 15 years, or they're able to try the dress that they once wore in their freshers party in college. So all these things create a very beautiful picture in in the reader's mind. The fourth is state a problem or a desire, and this is minus the frustration is means where you are overcoming the objections that they're able to fix the problem and they can achieve what they want without overcoming the limitations. So, for example, you can write money making emails even if you have, even if you are bad at copy, even if you are not able to write basic copy. So, this is a big problem, and so you have to do the dual job. You have to talk about the problem, talk about the desire, and you have to show how, in spite of those limitations, objections, you can still achieve them. So let's start by asking a simple question. What does it take to click stunning pictures just from your phone? So people want to uh, uh, click amazing pictures, but they do not know how to use the phone to do that. Now, whenever you are stating a problem, also other important thing that you can do is break down those problem into symptoms. How those problems are showing up in their life. So the problem is not just, for example, if you're talking about weight, the problem is not just the extra 20 kgs of weight, but they're not able to do things that they want to do because of that extra weight. Maybe they're not able to travel, they're not able to play with their kids, or they're not able to go on a campaign they're wanting to go for a long time, or there is a college reunion that is coming up and they want to go there in their best dress, but they can't do it because of that extra weight. So show how that you know issue is showing up in their life. So for example, if you take email as an example, and one of the big problem is emails landing into the spam. And when, so the problem is not the emails landing into spam. The problem is that when emails land into spam, your readers don't get to see the emails. So you lose out a big chunk of money simply because your emails are landing into spam. No matter how amazing your copy is, no matter how amazing your product is, and no matter how much your audience loves you. But since they're not hearing their message, they're not able to buy from you. So break down these problems into symptoms and write about and pick up one symptom and write about that specific symptom in one specific email. The other thing that you have to do is dimensionalize the problem. Show how that problem is serious, show why they need to, why it's important, urgent to fix that problem. So that's the fourth category of, lead. So start with the problem itself. Fifth is debunk a myth. So when you start breaking myths, people feel that you are genuinely helping them. People feel that you are going to, since you are someone who is giving them a new insight, a revelations, or a aha moment, or breaking their old way of looking at things, and they will see that they will connect you as an expert and they want to learn from you. And that is why you will be able to stand out, build a better relationship, because you are helping them see the things that are not working in their life, and that you are giving them things that are actually working and what's true. So, for example, we have known that alcohol keeps us warm. Right? Wrong. Now, before I go into this example, you can also write myths of different industries, and I'll show you how you can connect it to your offer. So, that is the part of the transition. So, you can write interesting things that people like to read, or they haven't heard it before, and then you have to use cleverly a good transition to talk about your offer and what is that you want to write about in the email. So, example, we have known that alcohol keeps us warm. Right? Wrong. It dilates warm blood vessels near the skin, creating the impression of warmth. It can drop core body temperature. So I think it should be, it can't drop core body temperature. But the whole idea is using an interesting myth. And so obviously you bring that entertainment value first. And if you're bringing, and if it's related to, directly related to your industry, then you're giving a lot of value in your emails. So that's the fifth category of email. I mean, the fifth category of the leads. The sixth is rising surprising facts or figures. So, do you know who the biggest boozers in the world are? Estonia. The consumption of 118.4 liters sold per head of population. But how they consume so much and still live long with a strong, healthy liver, I will tell you in a minute. Now, see, this is again a very interesting way to connect to your offer. There are things that people feel are true, but they're not true. And it creates a lot of entertaining value in your emails. Second is, when you write these surprising fact, obviously you get a lot of attention, and then you can use amazing transition, a good clever transition to connect your offer. Sometimes it's a very natural smooth transition. For example, in this case, people feel that drinking is actually affecting the liver, and there could be a surprising element here. So I'm not an expert at it, but then there are so many surprising facts that you can collect, and whenever you are collecting those surprising facts, make sure that they are really surprising. So it's not that everyone knows and you're writing, then it would be boring and monotonous, and people would want to, you know people will feel that I already know about this. So if there is really something surprising, write about it. So make a sheet of all these surprising facts and start using them. And I'll show you how to build up. In the next session, we are going to talk about how to build up and how to use the transition, then to connect these surprising facts to your offers. Seventh is ask a can't be ignored question. So these question could be, you know, uh, whenever you're on a call with someone, with your client, and your client asks a lot of questions. So these questions are a good source for writing good emails, because your audience might also be having the similar kind of questions. So whenever you're doing your research, see what kind of questions that people are asking. So even in your sales call, make a list of these questions. Also, this could be, even your subscribers might be writing to you, and these questions could also be when you are reaching to your audience and asking them. So, for example, you tell, I wrote an story about, feeling unworthy. So there was someone who has a feeling of unworthiness all her life, and even though she was doing great, but it felt like she has been just there's a lot of imposters syndrome, and she's been able to do it for some luck and all, but beneath she was, there is a lot of unworthiness. So I wrote a story about it, and then asked my readers what's the one thing that is stopping them to achieve this, because no matter where they are, there is some level, there's some kind of unworthiness within them, and people could relate to it, because that's what the audience that my clients work with. So they join through a certain lead magnet, which talks about unworthiness. So we know that people have issues with the unworthiness. And then I asked them to reply to this email, asking them what's the number one thing that is stopping them from achieving those goals. So you can ask questions write a story, ask a question. You can be very direct. What is the number one challenge that is stopping you to, get achieve those goals? And it could be a question directly of, general problems. Have you ever wondered why 95% of startups shut up their doors within 3 years? So that's a question. And then you go on and break it down and answer it for them. So it's not just the question, but in some cases, there are direct questions that when you want them to reply. And then otherwise, if you're asking questions, you have to also give the answers. Are you sick and tired of low quality clients who are just price shoppers? Then you expand this. For example, in this case, are you sick and tired of low quality client? Then what I'm going to write about is not just that the issue is not with the clients. The issue is with you because you are attracting them. You are your funnel, the way you approach, the kind of positioning that you're doing, the kind of content that you are doing. It is because of that you are attracting low quality clients. It's not the clients. So you can give different approach, different perspective, different insights based on the questions that you are asking. Share a story, share a testimonial. So this is the eight kind of lead. So one of the biggest reasons people do not make buying decisions is because of disbelief. They do not believe claims because the market is overpaced and overcrowded, and everyone is giving bigger, bolder claims, and people need proof uh, whether they're able to back up on those claims or not. So testimonials are so important. Start collecting testimonials from mm, from your clients, written testimonials, video testimonials. The more testimonials you have, the better proof you have to show. So it's one of the easiest and one of the best ways to show proof that your stuff works. In testimonials, you can write one story of a client, or you can use multiple testimonials, or you can use testimonials to overcome objections. So at least once in 7 days or 10 days, write one good testimonial to your list. And you can use similar testimonials because people forget, and you can use similar testimonials every 3 months. Share testimonials. Here's the reason I love to do what I do. And then you expand on this and write about there is a reason you love what you do because of the results that your clients are experiencing. And then you go in and write about the kind of experience the clients are experiencing because of your offer or what insights that you're sharing. So start collecting these testimonials and make sure these testimonials are written clearly. There are specific details into this and they solve a specific purpose. So do not be very generic. So that, for example, I'm feeling very energetic and I've lost 20 kg. So this is good, but you want to go a step ahead. So you want to go a step ahead in your testimonials where you're not just talking about the energy, but actually showing how that energy, high energy is showing up in their life. How losing 20 kgs, what kind of experiences they're having right now, how their life is changing. Add these specific details because that is how your testimonials will work. Otherwise, uh, they won't create any much of impact. Hit the competition. So everywhere you turn, you are presented with dozens of. That's an example. Everywhere you turn, you are presented with dozens of marketing techniques. You need to do videos, and then there is SEO, PPC, and social media, blogs, and so on. Now it's your job to identify the loopholes, missing links, what's not working with the competition, and do the homework for your subscribers. So don't assume that they will identify that there is something wrong with certain competition and then they will do a better job. It's your duty that you have to show what makes you superior, better, different from the competition. So did you remember we talked about writing reason why copy? So reason why somebody should pay you attention, reason why they should look into your offer, reason why you are unique. So make a list of those reason why. So hitting a competition is where once you identify those missing links, once you identify the loopholes, once you identify what's wrong, what is the unique mechanism of why certain things are not been working, you can expand on them and write about why your things work. So Your audience, your subscribers are clearly able to see where the difference is. What is the missing link and how you are filling that missing link? What is the gap? How are you filling that gap? It requires some kind of research, but that research is so much worth it. The 10th is show predictions. So, who do predictions? Leaders, influencers, people who are an expert in the industry, true experts. So, when you do these kinds of predictions, people know that you are someone an expert, and you are someone they can look forward to know about the future. And so, for example, the people who believe in astrology, and if they find a good astrologer, people become a die-hard fan of those astrologers and do everything in their make big decisions in their life because of you know um, by taking advice from their astrologers, because they do predictions. They tell you what is going to happen, what might happen in your life, and if you want to do it better, then you have to do these processes. So you have to be an astrologer for your audience. So you have to tell them what might happen in the industry, and if you want to take advantage of what might happen, here's what you need to do. Or you can alarm them of what might happen. So, for example, in AI, it is disrupting the market. People are losing their jobs. And almost 2 years back, people have been started writing about how the AI is going to kill so many jobs. And then what has happened that so many new offers have come out simply based on how to save your job, by being more effective at AI. So by 2030, the world will have seen over 200 billion jobs disappear. Most will be back in different forms in different industries, and with over 50% structured as freelance projects rather than full-time jobs. So there's a big prediction, and so people make prediction in stock market. People make predictions in healthcare industry. So in your industry, identify if you're just started, then you might not be in a position to do the predictions because people will feel that you have just starting out. But still, if you have a bold, if you're bold, if you're confident about something, you should write about it. If you're working with a client, then ask him what he thinks is going to happen in the future, in the next 2, 3 years, in the next year, in the next second year, in the 5 years, because that is how it will position him as a leader. State an irresistible offer. So sometimes you just want to be direct and tell them, hey, this is what you're going to get, and this is what the price is, and this is going to be available for so and such time. So if you want to truly understand what goes into, making a good offer, read Alex Hormozy's book, 100 million offer. So you don't have to write a good story or an incident, or even write about testimonials. But if you can do mix and match and involve into irresistible offer, it will work better. But sometimes you have to be just direct. So if you're doing a launch and you have already written a couple of emails talking about testimonials, proof, problems, you have shown a good picture, then you can be very direct in the last couple of emails, just hitting on what is the offer and what they might miss if they do not take action right now. So e-com industries, they do a lot. For example, 50% off on fresh stock only for today, only to our members. We had never offered such a stealing offer ever. It's our 50th anniversary, and we want to thank you all. So it's for warm audience. It is for people who have already been doing the purchases and have been the past customers. So they already understand. They already have some trust and credibility with the company, and now they just want to give them away this offer to them. Sometimes direct offer works far better than writing a story and incident, because that audience already know you. There's already some trust, and you don't have to waste a copy into doing all that job because it's already been done. And if there is a product that they have been buying before, then you just have to be very direct in terms of that is the offer. But make sure you don't overuse these things, because uh, even if you just so because if you write emails only related to deals and discounts and bonuses, then it's going to affect your positioning. People will connect your pricing with the discounting. So whenever you have a fresh new something, or you come down to your original pricing, it will be difficult to sell. So do if you are having discounts and bonuses, if you're doing big discounts, then do it occasionally, uh, you know, but not too much. The fifth is the perspective. Sorry, the 12th is the perspective. People want to know what's happening in your life. What is your approach? What's your opinion onto something? So you may use quotes of popular people, big famous people like Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar. But at then people want to know what's your perspective, what's your take on that? Did you apply it in your life, and what has been your experience? So people are on your list for you. They want to see your opinion onto something, which is why just when you write about these perspectives, you show a lot of your personality, and people connect with that personality. And that is what we're doing. We're trying to build a connection. We're trying to build a relationship. And these perspectives are a very powerful way to your personality, your way, your voice, your uniqueness, your way of living, your way of looking at certain things, how you conduct your business, how you conduct your life. So, for example, I'm turning 33 today, and here are 33 lessons I done. And this was a very good way of connecting to your audience. And it's a very good opportunity for you to show what you stand for, the values, the principles, and all those things. So, these are actually the 12 kinds of leads that you can write. And I'm sure I've removed a lot of guesswork and confusion. Now that when you sit down to write, keep this list in front of you and see, uh, basis on the research that you're doing, what kind of email that you would want to write. The simple exercise I want you to do is take your offer and write three leads for that specific offer. So pick up three leads from this, maybe telling a compelling story or an incident or painting a future picture, and write your leads based on this. Now, whenever you're writing, you know, these leads, it doesn't mean that you can't involve anything else. For example, when you're telling compelling story, you know, you can also state a problem and desire. But I don't want to make it very complex in advance. Right now, stick to this lead. But then you can also start, the majority of your email would be around that big lead, but you can also involve other ideas into it. So that is also okay. But then the core focus would be around that specific lead. So if you're talking about one specific problem, expand it, go deep into it. Because one good idea, you know, instead of, you don't want to make things very complex. You don't want to overwhelm the readers. You don't want to create that confusion. Simplicity and clarity will give you far better results than cramping your emails with so many things. So, which is why these leads are so important, because they give you a whole idea of what the entire email is going to be about. Because when somebody is on your list, you're going to get multiple opportunities to reach out to them. It's not just one email has to do the entire job. So which is why you have all these 13, 12 kinds of leads to reach out to them. And then these are good enough for you to write an entire year of email. I mean, you don't have to worry about, you know, anything new. You start with this, and then something new or original or something very different comes up to you, then it's great. But then you stick with this because that has been proven and tested before so many times. Now, in the next, in the session, what we're going to talk about is how do we build up. Now that we have a good subject line and we have made them open the email, we have a good lead, which is getting their attention. Now we're going to expand this. How we are going to, that is going to be the core of your email, which is be the major part. The maximum content is going to be on the body copy, the expanding part. And it's so crucial because that is where you will demonstrate your expertise. That is where you will connect with them and, you know, uh, break down these things into digestible, you know, content that they can consume. And that is how uh, you will move from the build up to the transition into the pitch. So let's move on to the build up. This is where you expand your ideas, you build desire and share the core message of your email. It is the middle of your email and the part where you explain the story, the problem, the idea in more details. So think of it like a movie. The lead is the opening scene and the build up is where the plot thickens. So this is the entire crux of your movie. And the transition setter sets in the climax. So this is where going to thicken the plot. Now there are certain principles that you need to take care of when you're building those your ideas, your core ideas, you're expanding on your leads. The first is you have to keep it simple and conversational. So your goal is not to lecture them or teach them. The whole idea is to talk to them like a friend. You have to keep the flow natural, like you're talking to a friend. And so let's take this example. Last night I found an old diary. So did you remember this? So this is you know, this lead is the incident lead. Last night I found an old diary. The build-up is, as I turned the pages, I laughed at my silly mistakes, the bad grammar, the complicated words. But then I realized something. Many beginners still make these same mistakes today when they write emails. So you see, the copy is, it sounds like we are talking to someone. There are simple words, there is, and then short sentences. It's easy to read. And then, so the whole, and if you look at these language, you will feel that I'm not trying to lecture them or teach them something. Another thing that you should remember when you're expanding on these leads is that you have to show more specific details. So this, I'm not saying this is a great copy, but the areas that can be improved here is that I actually take a picture of the diary and show, the mistakes and show the bad grammar and actually show them. So instead of just telling them, I can show them, which makes this copy of a bit better. I mean, in fact, a far more better. So, so I'm not saying this is a great copy, but then you get the idea on how do you expand it. You keep it simple. You keep it like you're talking to a friend. So once you build on this, you make it about them. So that's so important. So the email is not just about you, something that happened to your life, which is great, but then what's in it for them? So you have the second element that you need to remember is you have to make it about them. The build up should connect with their fears and desires and show them you understand them. And just like me back then, you probably worry, what if my emails sound unprofessional? What if nobody reads them? What if I'm just wasting time? Now I'm writing on the fears uh, through me, but my audience is also have similar kind of fears, and I had those fears, when I started writing copy, and so that's why people can relate it. They can feel that I am someone like them. The first is, keep it simple. The second is make it about them. And then you have to add emotions. See, problem, agitation, and the solution. So how do you do add these emotions? You expand on those, the problems, you agitate on them, or if you have a desire, you build it on them. So now deepen deepen the builder by following the simple flow. So the problem, what's the issue? The agitation, how does it hurt? What's the cost of not fixing it? And then the hint at the solution. Suggest there is a better way, but don't pitch it yet. Now, this is one way of showing an emotion which is related to the problem. So I've just picked it for an example. But when you're writing about a future picture, then the emotions could be actually showing them what's their life right now, then expand on it, how they're living their life, what is happening, how, for example, if somebody started to make a good amount of, generate a lot of wealth, then how they are using that wealth to invest, to do charity, to do, gift others. So write those specific things, travel, and then suggest them there is a better way. And then in this case of, for example, if you're writing about the future, you can suggest them that this could be you too. And instead of directly pitching them, just give a hint at this point. So how you do it, here's the problem. Most beginners overcomplicate. So I'm in continuation to this email. So where we have, you know, uh, talked about the old diary, the mistakes that I've been making in the past, and then making it about them that they also worry that they make similar mistakes in the emails when they write, and then expanding on that problem. So here's the problem. Most beginners overcomplicate. They try to sound smart but end up sounding stiff, and stiff emails get ignored. So there, here I've done the agitation, expanded on the problem. And the worst part is each ignored email feels like rejection. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you wonder if you would ever get this right. So here I'm going deep into the emotions. But here's the good news. It's not you. It's not that you're a bad writer. The problem is just the approach. And fixing it is simpler than you think. Now then I'm hinting what could be the solution. Now that you have expanded on the problem, agitated on it, then you state the message clearly. So every email should have one clear message. So what is that they can take away when they read your email? That is what I'm talking about, writing with a lot of clarity, focusing on one core good idea. So it should have one clear message. Ask yourself, what's that one thought I want them to remember after reading this? So after they read your email, what is that one thing they remember? So in continuation to our this copy of the bad writer, and that's the real lesson I got from that old diary. You don't need perfect words. You just need simple, clear ones. So that's the clear message that I'm giving. So I started with writing about how I found an old diary. S- Uh, Now could you see how I'm transitioning to my own offer? So I wrote about the old diary and how I was searching for something and I found that old diary, and then I was looking at my own way of writing, and there were so many bad mistakes that I used to do. But then, and I brought it back to, the reader, and they also might be similarly thinking of they're using those unprofessional way or making the similar kind of mistakes when they write. And then I expanded the problem, that a lot of beginners overcomplicate. So they, try to sound smart and stiff. And then how it affects is that they feel rejected. And if it is doesn't produce results. But the good news is that they don't have to, they can sort of fix this problem. And and then the perspective is it's not that they're a bad writer, it's just the approach. And if they fix that approach, they can fix the problem. And that's the lesson I got, from it, and that you don't have to be, you don't need perfect words, you just need simpler, clear ones. And this is an example for writing clearly and writing better. But then the similar approach can be used in any niche. So this is why I want you to do this simple exercise. Take one of the leads you wrote earlier. Write 3 to 5 sentences to build up. Expand the story, the problem, or the fact. Tie it to the reader's fear or desires, like we did here, and end it one clear message. This message. So this is where the whole value part of your email comes in. No matter what you're talking about, the incidents, the stories, or facts, or figures, this message is so important in your emails. And when you're doing this exercise, don't worry about pitching. Just build up. Just start with the lead and build it up, and don't worry about pitching. I'll show you how to do that. And you will see how smoothly it flows. So start with a relatable lead, build it up by making it about them, add problem agitation and then hint the solutions, and then land onto one clear message that sticks. Now let's talk about transitions. So you have understood how to write leads, then how to build up, expand on those leads, and now you want to switch on to your offer. You want to pitch your offer. but you can't directly jump into pitching your offer unless you build a bridge, unless you build a smoother, slippery transition from these stories, from everything that you have been telling, in terms of doing the predictions or all those kinds of leads that you have been writing. Now it's time to switch to your offer. And for that, you need a transition. A lot of people goof for fear and then they directly jump from, writing about a different story to their offers. And that is how they miss out the readers. The readers can't connect between all that you have been talking about in your email, the stories, the incidents, or the predictions, and now suddenly you're jumping to your offer. So you have to create those bridges so that there is a natural, smooth transition. So these are like slippery switches from build up to sales pitch. And every transition should answer this. Why I am telling you this story. So story means the incident, the predictions, or anything that you have been telling about. And if uh, if your email is just about that prediction, you're living on to that, that's okay, and giving that message or lesson, that is okay. But if when you are pitching and you are talking about your offer, you're connecting that email and that message to your offer, then you need to tell them why you have been telling this story. So here are 9 examples of how you can do that transition. So for example, this is one of the most common, and you might be wondering what this has to do with dash. So for example, if we've been writing about weight loss, so you have spoken about a certain incident, or maybe we can pick up a lead example here. So let's take this lead of debunk, debunking a myth. We have known that alcohol keeps us warm. Right? Wrong. It dilates warm blood vessels near the skin, creating the impression of warmth. It can't drop the core body temperature. Then you expand on this and you build up on this, and then you transition into, you know, uh, you might be wondering why I'm talking about alcohol, or you might be wondering about why I'm talking about this. The reason is that when it comes to your, you know, losing weight, okay, so exercise is not the whole part. 80 to 90% of it depends on your diet, and most people uh, get wrong here. So you are actually connecting this debunking a myth to another myth that prevails in the health industry, in the weight loss industry. So similarly, these bridges has to be there to create those connections between the build up, the lead, and then to the transitions. So anyway, unlike this, but anyway, unlike these old shoes that lose their resilience and charm with the time, these old school sales hacks is as current as the next tweet, especially in this overhyped, overpromising market. So, for example, I wrote an email in which I also clicked a picture of some of my old shoes, and I have been a collection of shoes, and many of my shoes are of similar brand, similar color. If they get old, I just stop wearing them and I buy a new one of similar brand because I love them so much. So even those these old shoes, so I've been writing a story related to these old shoes, and then I wanted to pitch on to the an offer which talks about sales psychology, and that sales psychology doesn't, I mean, the human behavior, the buying motivation, the psychology of buying, that doesn't change. So I'm connecting it to that. But anyway, unlike these old shoes that lose their resilience and charm with time, this old school sales hack is as current as the next tweet, especially in this overhyped and overpromising market. So now, can you see how I'm doing these connections? How I am transitioning from a story or an incident or something that is happening to my life to the current offer. Why I'm telling you all this? So this is something very common. Why you might be wondering what this has to do with. So if you are telling something which is totally unrelated, maybe talking about a surprising fact, or you are talking about debunking a myth in totally different industry, then this is good or unlike anyway. So you are talking about something which doesn't work. So and now you're switching to an offer which works. So here this the second transition will work. Why I'm telling you all this? If you then, so if you desire the next level of success in your business, then you can't miss this. So, for example, you have been writing an email talking about going to a next level into something. Maybe you yourself has achieved something. Maybe you have lost maybe 15 kgs, or you might have done something tremendous, and you move to a next level. Now you are asking them, if you desire the next level of success in your health, or next level of success in your business, or next level of success in your productivity, then you can't miss this. So the whole story could have been your story, it could be your client's story, or it could be a story of somebody you and your audience both can relate to. That's a good way of transition. If and then is one of the most common and also one of the most effective way to transition into your offer. If this want more cool stuff. So for example, you have shared some good insights in your email, and then you are asking them if you want more cool stuff. So you want more cool email writing tips, especially like these. Want more cool email writing tips like this, especially the one that gets you high ticket clients consistently. Then here's a great place to kickstart. So uh, it could be of anything. You might have shared a good tip related to fasting. It could be a good tip related to getting on a date, and then you want them to take a step further, and that is when you say them you want more cool stuff. Then you have to go to the next level. That's why today I want to talk about this. For example, that's why today I want to talk about email techniques that cut away all the fat and complexity in letting you reach out to your target audience. So probably you may have written email or a story related to, uh, there's so many people create unnecessary complexity, and how you resolve those uh, complexity, and you find out that there are only few steps to take, which reduces overwhelm, which makes action easier and simpler and faster. So it could be a story related to that. And then that is why you connect it to, that is why today I want to talk about emails. So it could be a story related to complexity, overwhelming, and then creating confusion and stress on making people not to take action. And then you're connecting it to something, your offer, because you make things simple, you reduce complexity, you remove the guesswork. So taking action is far more easier. The seventh is, this is the reason. This is the reason I do not lash myself to every new shiny tactic. They fall flat in a tough business environment. So there could be an email or incident or story or something which is related to something that is not working. And you're writing, done the entire build up. And now you're saying that this is the reason I do not lash myself to every new shiny tactic. So you've written why a new shiny tactic is not working. This is the same secret dash. These are the same secrets that are used by non-fictional writers that can turn you into a master persuader. So, if you look at a lot of emails, if you look at a lot of good copy, they also use techniques which are used by non-fictional writers. Fictional writers. So, it could be a story of you watching a series on Netflix, and there is something happening on that series, and you're completely hooked. And instead of you decided to watch for an hour, but then 2 hours are gone and you are binge watching, and then you're eating chips, and there are so many things are happening. You can't stop yourself watching it. Then you can relate it to, these are the same secrets. So you can talk about different industries, and then y- how you are taking those insights, those lessons from those secrets from different industries and applying to this industry. So that is how this will apply. This is the same secret. Example, these are the same secrets that are caused by non-fictional writers that turn you into a master persuader. But ninth is, but I found it works even better for. But I found it works even better for email marketing, even better for health, even better for relationship. So again, there's something that you have learned from somebody who has applied in his industry, or something that is applied in a different niche, and you're saying that I found it works even better for this thing. And that is how you do the transition. These transitions, you can just use this copy as it is, and it's so effective. You don't have to worry about how are you going to, when you're collecting your stories, your ideas, incidents, writing about predictions. So let me pull this up, all the leads. Yeah, when you're picking up the questions, writing about anything, a missing loophole that you have found in the competition or in perspective, you don't have to worry at that time that how are you going to connect your offer. But because now you have these transitions, so the transitions will make it so easy and natural for you to transition from whatever you have been talking about and building up to your offer. So that is how you do this effectively. That is how you make things interesting. That is how you connect two different things and make it interesting for your reader to read. Now that you know how to do the transition, how to move from build up to making them know why you're telling this story, it's time to introduce your offer. So the most important part of your offer is the benefit, the end results, the outcome that they're going to get. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to introduce your offer? I'll give you a couple of examples. Now, let's say we use this transition, eighth one, and we are using it for example, we use this example, seventh one, and we are using it for transitioning into, you have an offer related to weight loss. So this is the reason, Dash. This is the reason I do not lash myself to every new shiny tactic. They fall flat in real world. And when you're busy and when you're trying to lose weight, they fall flat. They do not work in the real, world. And that is why I created a simple 6 week program that helps busy professionals lose weight without starving or spending hours in the gym. If you can spare just 30 minutes a day, the system will help you drop fat, be energetic, and actually enjoy the practice. The first thing to notice is this copy, and that is why. So we're doing a reason why copy. So there is a logical reason, a logical conclusion to the entire story that you have told, and that is why you have created this story. So it's not just you're writing them to introduce your offer. There is a reason. There is a lot of thought process behind why you have created uh, this offer. The other thing is overcoming the objection. So whenever you are creating any offer, when you are pitching anything, there are couple of very common objection and they're big objections. So in this case, objection could be they will have to spend a lot of time into gym, or they'll have to, you know, starve themselves of food and cut down their food. But here we are killing all that two main objections. So it helps busy professionals lose weight without starving and spending hours in the gym. You can spare 30 minutes a day, so it looks, it's it is doable. Let's look at the end results. You drop fat, feel energetic, and actually enjoy the process. So actually, in your email, do two kind of transition. So one is obviously the transition from your build up to why you're telling this story, and then this transition to your offer. And you can use this copy. This is why I built a framework. That's why I created this. And so I put together a step by step framework. So let's look at this example, which is why I built a framework to help working professionals speak with confidence in meetings and interviews. Imagine waking into your next presentation without sweating bullets and actually having people lean in when you talk. That's what the system is designed to give you. So let's take this example. So I put together a step by step plan that shows you how to manage your money, cut unnecessary expenses, and start investing wisely, even if you have never done it before. The goal is simple: more savings, more security, and more freedom for you and your family. So see this copy, it's making the another transition more. simple for you. Now you don't have to worry about that. Even after you the transition from what's in it, the entire build up and the lead and why I'm telling this story to now coming to the offer. That's the exact reason I created the system for the small business owners. It helps you attract better clients, close better deals, and keep your calendar full without wasting money on random marketing tactics. Now, these offers can be more specific. I'm not saying this is the best copy, but just to give you an example of how to do the transition, I've used this copy. But if you work again on this, and we can add very specific details, we can point out better benefits, and we can handle objections better. So these copies can be still edited and can be further improved. But the whole point is how do you transition from the first transition to introducing your offer, and how do you actually introduce your offer? Let's like let's take this example. This is why I develop a coaching program for couples who want to bring back connection and joy in their relationship. Simple tools you can simple tools you can practice daily that help you stop fighting, start listening, and actually feel closer again. So now, no matter what you have been trying to speak in relation to, anything that has happened into your life and a specific incident, or you've been trying to tell a story, or there is a surprising element or a fact or figures, even they might be unrelated to a specific, topic your offer, but there are a couple of transitions that you can do so that it logically fits into the entire framework. So when somebody is reading, he doesn't feel abrupt. He doesn't feel that it doesn't connect well. Plus, you don't have to worry about specifically starting your email just talking about relationship. There's so many variety of things that you can write about, but because you know how you can link it back to your offer, which will make your email game much easier. Plus, it's interesting for your readers to read. You're not monotonous. You're not talking about the same thing. There's variety of things that you're talking about in your emails, and which is why your readership will improve and people will want to read your emails. So after you have transitioned, you have introduced your offer, it's time to, give that call to action link or the button. So focus on one action, the one action you want them to take after they read your email. So everything is designed to click to that one specific link. Or if you're not selling anything, if you are just, it's a value, email and there is no link, then it's fine. So otherwise, you need one specific. Even in that case, what we have learned that whenever you're writing an email, you have to focus on one key objective, one big idea, and you're selling that one big idea in that entire email. So similarly, at the end of the email, you have to, focus on one action that you want them to take. So some of the copy here, you will have to see that it doesn't land your emails into promotion because or spam. But if people have been reading your emails regularly or deliverability, you don't have deliverability issues, and you have good domain reputation, people wanting to read your emails, then you can get away with a lot of promotional words also. So different types of call to action that you can use depending on what you're trying to sell and what the link is about. So you have to move them to click the link. So in some case, you can be very direct if you're an e-com product and you're just trying to sell something and there is a loss that is happening and you have discounts. You can use words like buy now, and subscribe now, sign up now, and call now. Otherwise, uh, use more of a soft, this doesn't sound very promotional, like discover now or sign up here. And if you're not selling anything, and or maybe they get the full details here or want to be part of this allied group, go here. Instead of click, you may use words like go here, discover how, and if you're asking them to reply, shoot me a reply, I'll see if I can help you. or shoot me a reply to get more details to specific about this program. But using the words like hit the reply button, shoot me a reply, these are action verbs and they trigger people to take action. So you can also bribe people. So your TV shows, so you know, uh, in your call to action, link, and you can use the text very effectively to get better links, better clicks. So your favorite TV shows just rupees 150 per month, and then you can, tweak this, model this copy for a different offer. Get started. Click here for the ABC surprise sales. You can also attach a compelling reason. Discover how to turn your hobby into money producing skills fast. So whenever you get a chance, do not just give away the link. You can use the text on that click to action, link effectively and still manage to get better, click through using better copy. You can ask for a non-risky first step. Start with a free trial. Try it for 15 days at our risk. Get started today. If you don't love it, your money back guarantee. You earn free for a month. That's a benefit. So usually in a lot of coaching offers, you can use this very effectively. This one attach a compelling reason works so well, and this works so well. Improve your productivity by 33% with XYZ. So you are directly giving them a benefit and giving them more reasons to click the link. Now start conducting interviewing. Now start conducting interviews any place, anytime, any device. And get started. You can attach a problem desire. Need to get rid of 15 kgs in 3 months. Now stop struggling with your emails and come claim your complimentary training now. So this is also a good idea. Ask them to close a loop. Go here and find out for yourself if you can be the next millionaire or discover your ideal style now. Get a quick personalized code today. So now this gives you a variety of call to action links that you can use, different kind of copies that you can use. You can bring variety into it so that it gives different reasons for you to make them click the link and go to the next and take the next step. So for example, if you have one offer for which you have been writing consistently, and most of your emails are designed to sell that one offer, then you can bring a lot of variety into the call to action links to get the more clicks because you're using different kind of copy. So usually that helps also break the pattern. People have been seeing similar kind of copy and similar kind of call to action in your emails for a quite a long time, but then you start tweaking those copy. You are not leaving chance anywhere because when they are on that link, you are giving more reasons for them to click, and which is why it's important to bring the variety in that copy also. Another trick that you can use is use the same copy that you have been using in your subject line in your call to action links. So it creates familiarity. So people have clicked the subject line because they like that subject line, and now they are seeing the same. When they're on to the links, they're seeing the same copy. So it actually gets you more clicks because they are, sticking to their own behavior. They like that copy, and now they wanted to click it more. So let's take a quick recap of what we have learned. The entire course as of now. You have understood why email is one of the most effective tool in 2025 to get sales, to get a good ROI on your investment. The mistakes that people make and how to avoid those mistakes. Then we have learned the 4 different sales that you have to make in every email copy. And then how you get into the reader's world. How do you do the research? How do you tap into the emotions? How do you identify what they want and what they don't want? And the architect of the emails. So we have in the architect, we have learned, the subject line. How do you write effective subject lines? And then how do you do the leads? So how do you do the build up? And so the subject lines, the body copy, the lead, and then the build up, transition, pitch, and the call to action. So PS could be, is another opportunity to make them click your links, or another opportunity to sell, and it's optional. You may or may not want to use it. So it's the poster script. Now I'll be moving to a another very interesting part of this course. Well, I'll take a couple of good examples, emails that I love, and how they follow, and we'll see how they follow the structure of, the body copy of the lead, build up, transition, and pitch, so that you can actually see and model to write your own emails. And let me show you these examples. Let me walk you through a couple of examples and the emails that I have written for my clients, and carefully notice what kind of subject line that we are using, what category of leads that we are using, how are we building up on those leads, what is the clear message that we are giving in each of the email in the build up, how are we transitioning from build up to why I am telling you this story, and then transitioning to the offer and how I am presenting the offer. So carefully notice all these things, and I also point it out when I'm reading these emails. So let's get started. So this is an email I wrote for a client in relationship niche. The subject is dating someone but still feeling lonely. That's a the subject line is under the category of asking a question, and it's a a burning question. So, hi, Gaurav. Today, I want to go straight to the heart of the matter and ask you something really important. Are you dating someone but still feeling a sense of loneliness? So, actually, the lead type is, share a problem and dimensionalize the problem. So, that's the lead type. On the surface, now see how I'm doing the build up. On the surface, it may seem like you have everything you need in the partner. Someone to share your life with, someone to cuddle with on the couch while watching Netflix, someone to go out with for dinner dates. However, on a deeper level, the emotional connection is missing. You feel as though your boyfriend is sitting next to you, but it's like his mind is miles away. He nods at the right places, but we can tell he is not really listening. So now I'm actually agitating the problem. Many times when you're talking about your day, your dreams, or even something funny that happened, he's just scrolling through Instagram or staring blankly at the TV, lost in his own thoughts. Even though you have been dating for quite some time, there is still no real closeness or heart to heart conversation that makes you feel safe and seen. He avoids opening up about his feelings. He shuts down when you try to talk about the future. He changes the subject when you ask about his worries or stress. And slowly, you start to feel like you are in a relationship alone. So, when you date someone who is emotionally unavailable, you end up feeling unheard, disconnected, and ultimately lonely. The sad truth is, many women find themselves in a relationship with someone cold and distant. So, now here is the core message of the email. Not because they choose wrong, but because their heart has become used to what feels familiar. So this is the message, and I'm expanding on this message here. If in the past you had to fight for attention, wait for scraps of love, or prove yourself to feel worthy, then even today a partner who feels distant can weirdly feel normal. And when you finally meet someone who's steady, honest, and fully present, it almost feels unsettling. So without realizing it, you are pulled back into the same old cycle. And so attracting the wrong kind of relationship becomes a pattern that repeats itself without even noticing. So I'm building it up on this to explain it further and make it more relatable so that the reader can quickly understand by relating it to real specific concrete details, adding these details and making it vivid and clear so they can see it. This is the reason. Now, see, I'm not transitioning to why I am telling you all this. This is the reason. Unless you fix the problem at its roots, it keeps showing up again and again. It's why. Now I'm again transitioning to my offer. It's why I created the Relationship Research Live Coaching Program. In this 2-week live coaching program, I'll help you break these patterns at a deeper level and give you the tools and techniques to attract and build really meaningful, connected relationship. Go here to find out more. So you can clearly see that, there's a subject line which is on the question, and then there is a lead which talks about the problem, and then we are building up. There's a clear message that is coming up through the build up, and then we are transitioning into what is why I'm telling you this story is because unless you fix the problem at its roots, it will keep showing up. And which is why I created this program. So you can see how the entire architect is working here. Let me show you another example, and and I'll walk you through how again the same architect is working in this another example. So finish is email marketing. Subject: I was fired for this. So this is personality driven. Subject line: I would pray they didn't pick up the phone. So I am getting directly into the story. So this is a story based lead. One of my first jobs was at a B2B consulting firm. They hired me for a sales and consulting, but then handed me a stack of outdated data and said, start calling. So there I was, phone in hand, starting at a long list of names, half of which were probably wrong. The only part of calling I liked was when someone didn't pick up. That silence was just a relief. Lol. And they and when they did pick it up, it was ugly. I am Gaurav, calling from XYZ, and we are launching our business breakthrough program for CEOs. I am in the recruitment, she said. I had no script, no strategy, and no clue. 6 months later, I was picking up my desk, fired for non performance. Haha. After that, I bounced between jobs. The story was always the same. Owners in sales guys grinding away, cold pitching, mostly strangers who didn't know them, didn't care, and didn't want to listen. But then I landed at a startup that did things differently. The sales guy didn't talk to blank faces. Instead, they met people who would read their emails or watch their videos and already kinda knew them. Conversation started with, I've been following your emails for a while. Instead of, who are you? 95% of the people, the sales guys, 95% of the people, the sales guys were meeting weren't strangers. They were warm, engaged, and ready to talk. And it showed. They went from zero to stealing clients from companies with 10, 15, or even 20 years of experience. And it's not because the product was revolutionary. It's actually the marketing worked with the sales, making the sales more almost effortless. Most B2B companies miss this. Picture this. The sales team meets 50 people. 47 say no, 3 says maybe, 1 buy. And the 47, the forgotten, marked not interested in the CRM. And then it starts all over again. Another 50 names, another grind. This is why it's so important to use emails. It allows you to keep building a relationship with those 47 month after month without wasting any time and energy. Just imagine your sales guys meeting someone who already know your story. Someone who has read 20, 10, 20, 50 or more of your emails. Someone who says, I've been meaning to talk to you. Instead of chilling, you would be connecting, and it makes all the difference. If you want to know how to write emails that gets you lead sales and repeat sales consistently, then join me live for a 2-hour webinar on how to write emails that sells. So now let's see how this structure is working. So this, I was fired for this. So this is with curiosity and it is personalized. So this is a mix of both. So the word this is creating curiosity, and I was fired is the personalized thing. I would pray they didn't pick up the phone. So I am directly setting up getting them into the story. So this is a story based lead, and then I'm building it up. So here this is all the build up and the story about it, and then there is a clear message that I'm giving through the story. And it's not because the product was revolutionary. It's actually the marketing worked with the sales, making the sales almost effortless. So this is the core message of the entire email. And then after I had given the message, I am talking about why this is so important. So this is why I'm telling the story. This is why it's so important to use emails. And you can see how I'm again transitioning to what I had to offer. So there's a simple structure. There is a personality driven subject line, a lead on the story. The story is given a lesson or a message, and then I'm transitioning to why I had this story for you, why I am telling you all this, and then what I have to offer. So you can clearly see again the structure is working. And then let me show you how, again, in the similar example, the other thing that you will see in these emails is I focus a lot on writing simple words, try to make it conversational, so keep it more human and natural. So when we discussed about writing the build up, there are a couple of things that we discussed. So for example, I'll just pull this up. Yeah, to keep it simple and conversational. So use simple, short words. Try to keep it very conversational, like you're talking to a friend. Make it about them. So even you're talking, telling about your story, connect it back to them, and then add emotion. So your problem, you're agitating and hinting a solution, and then state a message clearly. So you can clearly see how I'm, following these steps in the emails. So let me take you through another example. So this is for I wrote for some a client who is into helping others overcome addictions of alcohol. So urges and cravings, question mark. This is how you stop them. This is in the pretext. Now this is a question which is related to the problems. So that's the category of the subject line. A bit of khas question for you. Are you relying on sheer willpower to moderate drinking? So this is again a problem based because I'll be expanding on this problem. So this is not just the question based. It's a mix of both, but it's kind of since we're directly asking them on a problem statement and expanding on it, I would consider more of a share a problem and then show the symptoms kind of a lead. I'm sure you would have given the old cold turkey approach a shot before, but let's be real. Most times you're back on the bottle before the end of the week, or at least I know that's how it was for me. I mean, think about it. How many times have you woken up with a pounding head, dry mouth, and that fit of and that pit of regret sitting heavy in your stomach from the last night's bash? You stumble into the bathroom looking at yourself in the mirror and mutter, "No more drinking today." But by evening, the thought of cracking open a cold beer, pouring a glass of whiskey keeps circling in your head like an itch you can't scratch. So you go home, twist open the cap, pour yourself a drink. And before you realize it, you're refilling the glass. Then again, until the bottle stands there empty on the table, staring back at you. And this cycle doesn't just last a week, it stretches on for months, years, sometimes even a whole decade. If this feels uncomfortably familiar, hear me out. It's not all your fault. Alcohol addiction literally messes with your brain chemistry. So, this is the message. Now, I'm expanding on this message. It hijacks your reward systems, rewiring your brain so the craving feels automatic, like your body is pulling you toward the bottle even when your mind says no. That's why simple positive thinking and surface level strategies just won't do the trick. But don't worry, no matter how long you have been hooked on alcohol, you can rewire your brain chemistry and finally break free from those triggers, urges, and cravings. This is precisely what my Free from Drinking course helps you with. It reshapes your brain's psychology and behavioral patterns step by step. Instead of walking up groggy with regret, you start waking up clear headed, proud, and in control. You reclaim a relationship with yourself and live a life free from alcohol's grips. Want to hear some amazing success stories? Click here to find out how thousands of my clients have become alcohol free and are living happier and healthier lives. Ellen. And now there is a testimonial in the fears. The free from drinking course won't just help you become alcohol free, it will change every aspect of your life. And there's a good testimonial here to prove that we are working. That's a great proof on this program. So let me show you how the entire structure is working. So this Subject line again is the burning question. And I have a bit of a harsh question for you. Are relying on sheer willpower of to moderate thinking? So this is where the problem based leads. And then I'm showing the symptoms of what the how the problem is showing up in their life. And this is the buildup is actually, I'm not making this up. This is come through research. This before you write your email, that is what we discussed in the earlier part of this course, where you have to do the research, identify the clients, how are they living, what are the frustration, how those problems are showing up in their life, and that is how. And then there's a clear message. Alcohol addiction literally messes up your brain. So the build up, after the build up, and during the build up, this is the message that's coming up clearly. It hijacks, and then I'm expanding on this message so that it's clear and they can see clearly what I mean to say. And here is the transition. This is why simple positive thinking and surface level strategies just won't do the trick. Why I'm telling you all these things, why I'm telling you this story? Because positive thinking and surface level strategies just won't do the trick. And this is why precisely what my free from drinking course helps you with. So that is how you will be doing your emails. And I'll walk you through one more last email from this course, and then you are ready to start using this and leveraging it to start writing emails for your list, for your clients list. So let's take this example. This is for Anish into luxury spas and you know mm, into spas and people who offer massages and therapy, where they have these good spas, but they're not able to attract good clients. So how to attract rich clients while saying goodbye to cheap ones? So this is again both benefit and curiosity. So curiosity is how to, but we can make it, if you want to make it more curiosity driven, then you can name the formula or the technique that you help with in attracting rich clients. But then this is a very good benefit for people who want these kinds of clients. One of the busiest shopping streets in the world is Fifth Avenue in New York City, USA. So I'm talking about a fact. It's an interesting fact, though it might not be very surprising for everyone. But though talking about things like shopping streets and all, it's very interesting. So one of the busiest shopping streets in the world is Fifth Avenue in New York City, USA. So I'm starting with a good fact. It is also one of the most expensive, jam-packed with iconic brands like Tiffany and Company, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Cartier, attracting clients from all over the world. You might wonder, why would someone spend thousands of dollars on their apparel or a single handbag? I'm talking about handbags that cost $5K, 10K, or even 25K for, where it all comes down to getting indulged in things that make them feel good. It's about treating themselves to something special and feeling utterly satisfied. But you know what else many affluent individuals seek that make them feel good and privileged and even celebratory? Experiences like good massages and therapy. It's why massages and therapy centers have been blooming all over the world lately. Most importantly, your clients do not have to be ultra rich to enjoy these experiences. However, the truth is, the most business owners do not know how to attract these affluent clients. So they settle with low paying clients and over demanding clients. Now, okay, I'll talk about the structure. Let me finish this emails. What if you can consistently attract people who are already willing to invest in massages and therapy and rebook over 90% of them? You will never have to worry about clients again. Instead, you can build a six-figure business while having the freedom to do things you love. This is exactly what you will discover inside the Affluent Clients Bootcamp. You will discover the step-by-step framework that has helped over 350 clients to build the massage and therapy business and business life that. Just like Jason, who went from seeing over 5 clients a month to becoming fully booked for 12 months in advance. And then stay at home dad Nick, who went from feeling stuck even after trying literally everything to forexing his business in 10 weeks. All these people were in the same boat as you when they joined the Affluent Client Bootcamp. But they all took the leap, and you can watch out for yourself. Click here to find out how Affluent Client Bootcamp can change your business and life. So now, so you have already seen the subject line and the kind of lead that we are using, how we are building up, making the entire thing more interesting and hooking their, all the four types of sales that we are doing: attention sale, leadership sale, solution sale, and selling the action. Here's the clear message. You know, mm, ex- yeah. So see, the clear message is: what if you can consistently attract people who are already willing to invest in messages and therapy and debook over 90% of them? So that is the message that I'm talking about here. And yeah, I think that's not the message here. The message is, however, the truth is, most business owners do not know how to attract these affluent clients. So they settle with low paying and over demanding clients. So that's the message here. And why I'm telling all this story is because, so that's here, this is exactly what you will discover inside the program. So that's the program that I'm talking about. So that is how I'm transitioning into the offer. Yeah. So this is how, and again, uh, if you look at the copy, it's using simple words after, you make it more natural, conversational, and try to make it like a greasy slide. So, break down sentences into, simple sentences, one word sentences. So it is easy for them, for somebody to read. So, congratulations. And if you have been here with me for the entire course and you have been following me and taking the notes and doing the exercises, then you are 90% far better than a lot of beginners out there. In fact, a lot of, you know, experienced level copywriters do not have that much of depth in terms of what kind of leads, what category of emails, how do we build up, how do we deliver that message. So, Brett, so if you just follow this, you will be able to deliver a lot of good results for your clients.
Hey guys, if you like this course, then I want you to subscribe to this channel because I'll be sharing a lot more insights on copywriting, salesmanship, mindset, marketing, email copywriting. So you don't want to miss all those goodies, and so I want you to subscribe to my channel right away. Also, if you want to learn how to write story selling emails, then I have a 3-step framework that I use almost all my story selling emails. So the link is below. You can download it right away. It's free, and I've given templates, I've given examples, and I've given you how to actually use that framework to write story selling emails.